In Cinema 4D, you're able to create what's called a palette to help you with better ease during production. For example, if I go up to the top of the interface here and I go to the set of icons where our objects are located, if I click and hold, we see we have our group of primitives. If I click on the bar here, it breaks off. Now we have a separate palette that's broken off from the main interface, and we're able to dock this anywhere that we want to work with while we're working into the viewport. If I right mouse click onto the graded bar here, I can say make tab, okay, and I can go right mouse click again and say rename, and I can go in and pretty much type in primitives and say okay, and I can go in and alter how this looks. So right now we just have a list of what we had before. I can go in, right mouse click again, and I want the icon size to be small or large. So we say large. Right mouse click again. Do I want rows or I want columns? So I'll say, you know what? Let's give me a column like that. Okay. And if I want to actually transpose this, I can switch this around, and move this arrow to the side. So the bar is on the side. I'll go back, put my tab back in for primitives. And what I can do now, since this is actually created, say for example I want to dock this palette into next to the objects window. I can grab the tab, drag it across, grab the bar, drag it across here, say on the word structure, the structure manager, and now we have a primitives tab or palette right next to the object window. So I don't have to go up to the top and hold to see the drop down menu or the list and the palette that's above of the interface. I can just quickly click over here and now create my objects as I need it, creative tab. Now I also can go in and edit the palettes in the interface. So if I go in and say window, layout, and edit palettes, you notice what happens that some of the icons have a blue bar around them. So I can go in, move these around to different structures. To turn this off, go to Windows, Layout, and re-click Edit Palettes one more time. And you see the interface is back to normal. So I'm going to go and let's create a new palette. So Windows, Layout, New Palette. Okay. And what I'm going to do is go and say Windows, Edit Palette. Now what I want to do is make a palette for transformation tools. So I'm going to take my Move tool, drag where it says Empty Palette. You notice that now it's there. Okay, I'm going to take my scale tool, drag it across, take my rotation tool, drag it across. Okay. And I'm going to right mouse click again as I showed you before and say make a tab. Okay, right mouse click, say rename. Type in transformation. Okay, and now I have a tab here, so I can go back to Windows, Layout, and say edit palettes again and lock out the palettes. You notice that now this information at the main interface has now disappeared, and we have the transformations locked into a new palette that we created, and simply grab the graded bar, drag it across, and here's our transformation window. I can go right mouse click on the graded area, change the icon size to large, okay, change the direction that they are in. Now you go in and you're editing your interface and you're creating new palettes and you don't like what you see, you can simply go back in, change the layout, okay, and go back to Window, Layout, and go back to Standard, and you have the original interface that you started with. What's very important, and then you notice when I click down on the Switch Layout, there's a check between Standard and Startup Layout. If I go to Windows and Layout, I can always save what I want to be as a startup layout. So once you create a series of palettes and dock them within the interface, you can always say save as startup layout and then save layout as. Give it a name. Say animation layout. And you can make that animation layout as your startup layout. So that after that point, every time you open up the Cinema 4D program, your interface will come up ready for you to work in production.